And right now, it's time for that time when we have our special guest. Tonight's special guest is Stephen King. Stephen is a 58-year-old baby boomer and is the founder and director of the Alcohol and Drug Community Support Centre in Manning Street, Hamilton. Stephen has suffered from addiction and knows all the pitfalls. But tonight on the program, he proudly celebrates the building of the rehabilitation house, the Family Support Centre, and 20 years clean. We welcome Stephen King as our special guest on The Beat Goes On. Stephen King, welcome to The Beat Goes On.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful to have you. Now, Stephen, we said in the intro that you are the director of the Alcohol and Drug Community Trust in Hamilton.
Well, I'm the founder of the trust as well. So, you know, we established that in 2000 out of a need, saw a need for a safe place for people to come. It's a residential setting. So once they've been in rehab, there's a step down in getting used to a life without alcohol and drugs. So having a safe place where there is no alcohol and drugs to move back into the community is quite important.
Christmas time has come and gone, and of course that's one of the worst times of the year for addiction. But life is full of addictions, isn't it? There's addictions everywhere.
Oh, look, these psychologists tell me, you know, as humans, if we like something, we want more of it. Yeah. And for some of us, we like more than just more. Now,
nobody could speak about this with more authority than you, because you've been on the journey, haven't you?
Yes, I'm still on the journey.
Yeah, so you decided to go down that pathway. Drugs and alcohol. How did it happen? Was it peer pressure? Was it?
Well, I think it was a time. You know, like I was 16 in 1970, and of course, cannabis was the first thing. You know, we were having that whole free love and flower power thing, and it came as part of that culture.
What was next?
Well, then the alcohol, of course, came, and then you were into both really. And needless to say, I took to it like a duck to water. There is some research around this, that people don't just wake up one day and think, you know, heroin would be a good idea. People start out on the light stuff and, you know, and tend to move through. Some people move on to onto others.
What did it do for you? What was the payoff for you?
Well, you know, looking back now, it was a way of coping with life, but at the time it was all about, you know, getting high. And I have this personality that had a predisposition to substances as a way of coping with my reality and how to deal with life, and one was never enough for me, and so the rest is history. So it was a combination of all those things.
You got to the stage where you were thinking to yourself, I can still cope with life, and I can be taking these drugs and the alcohol and etc. etc. And I'm actually thinking that it's not affecting my life, but other people watching you could say that yes, it was affecting your life.
Yes, and they certainly did, and there was no holding me back. And in using terms, I was committed to the finding and getting of more of it. Addiction is a very hard thing for family and loved ones to bring to your attention, because, you know, that's it's kind of like, I'm okay.
There was a day when, and you told me, you said, there was a day where I became sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
Describe that day.
I can tell you what that day was, because it was significant for me. I had a young son at the time, and my partner's, one of her cousins, said to me, Steve, when you're dead and gone, or living in Australia, whenever you're spoken of or recounted to in front of your son, you'll be described as the kuritaki, the useless dog.
That's a terrible.
Didn't take responsibility for your family, contributing to that family. Yeah, and you know, it was sort of like a knife in the shoulder blade, really.
Wow.
And that was
the start of the
defining moment for me, not wanting my son to grow up with a chip on his shoulder that his old man was, you know, an alcohol and drug addict.
When did you last have your last drink?
It'll be 20 years of I make the 20th of March.
20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Wow.
And of course,
congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. And yet they didn't close any hotels, and I don't think there's a shortage of any less drugs in our society today. So it's been about personal choice. I haven't become some form of zealot. I get out and about. You know, it took a few years. I socialise, and in fact, look, I've got to tell you, I kind of almost get a little bit tipsy when out with people enjoying a drink. I don't have a problem with what anybody else is doing as far as.
And you're never tempted. Never tempted.
No, it's a choice, and I recognise it for a choice. And when people say, "You mean you can't drink?" and I say, "Well, no, I can. The elbow still works, but I choose not to." And I guess that's because I actually really appreciate the life I have today.
Describe your trust in Hamilton.
Yeah,
what
well,
is it today?
we could see that there wasn't a place for people once they'd completed rehab, and it was sort of like throwing straight back into the old environment.
Yeah.
Myself and several others, we got together and we formed a trust. I don't know how it quite happened. There was, there was some sort of who's going to lead this, and I think I don't remember stepping forward, but I think a couple of the others must have stepped back. But I got the job, so. Yeah. And we were fortunate that there were people in society that recognised the need for this place, and they came forward with funding, and we actually bought the property and built it up from there. And 7 rooms, 10 beds, and they can individual planning to personal need.
Out of 100 people that you've had, how many will slide back?
No one can make someone else stop or change. It actually does require the individual to decide on a daily basis that I want a different sort of life, and so you can see that. So I'm always willing to do, and people do. We don't judge them if they have to go around the Māori
5
bush.
or 6 times.
Whatever they have to do, we'll look at that. We'll look at reviewing the plan. How come that didn't work? Let's look at another kind of plan for you. All that sort of stuff. If
somebody's in the Waikato and they would like to have a chat to you, they can give you a call. Give us your number so we can put it up on the screen.
Yes. Well, it's in the help pages. Alcohol and Drug Community Support Trust. Take all calls and point people in the right direction about where they need to go. And let's not forget families. There's a lot of frustrated family members out there and partners who don't know what to do about their loved ones' use or excessive use of alcohol and other drugs. I can connect them with that. So that number is 834.
That's 07.
Yeah, 07 834 2428.
Wonderful. Steve, it's been great.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Look forward to seeing you again on the program.
I hope I get a come back.
You can. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you very much.